tapping a few trees today. Hey folks, the days are getting warmer and the nights are staying below freezing, and so that makes for the perfect weather for tapping maple trees. I've got lots of silver maples around here rather than sugar maples. It's a little bit of a lower sugar content, so it takes a little longer and a little extra sap to get the syrup, but it's still a lot of fun. It's not something that I do large scale. It's usually just for me, and I give some to a couple of friends. But anyway, these are just some items that you might need if you're getting started and you want to keep things real low key and affordable. So you'll need the hose, you'll need spiles. I'll talk more about these here in a second. You'll need some sort of a drill and the right size drill bit. Like I said, these are the 5/16 inch, and so that's what size drill bit it is. And I'm gonna mark about 1.5 inches in on the drill bit. That's about how far you should go into the tree with the bark. And then some tape to mark that, and a hammer, right, and a way to measure. So here's a bit of a closer look. You can order these spiles, different types. These are plastic. They also make them in galvanized metal. The size is listed on here. This is a 5/16 drill bit, and so I'm just going to mark about 1.5 inches. And so I just want to go down about 1.5 inches. And so that gives you about you want to go about 1 inch into the bark and then about 1/2 inch for the bark. That might vary depending on the thickness of the bark on your trees, but that works pretty well. And so that just gives me a guide that I can use. All right. And so then I will take a hammer to hammer the spiles. And again, here's a closer look at one of the spiles and the hose that I have cut to length. When I first attach these spiles, I always heat up the hose in hot water, and that makes it much easier to insert. But you can buy them all sorts, and that's actually made for maple syrup, so it's food grade. All right, we're gonna tap this first silver maple to see if the sap is indeed flowing. And so the first thing I like to do is to level up a bucket. I use 5-gallon buckets, food grade. And I like to level it up. You want to use the south side of the tree with the sun hitting it. Most likely that's going to be where the sap is flowing best. So this is the south side, really convenient in this place. And I have several maple trees that I actually planted from seed. I guess that was 30 some years ago. And then you want to position the bucket close enough to where your hoses will reach. We've done this enough, so this is the basic location of where we like to go. And then you simply just drill the hole here in this spot. And so you only want to tap large trees. I forget the minimum diameter, but this one's more than enough. And usually I will tap trees every other year. So I've got this grouping down here on the south side of the property, and then I have others scattered throughout. But you can see in the past where you can see damage from where I've done before. The tree seals that up with more bark. So it's just no different than like insect damage or something. So it heals on itself. That's one of the reasons though why I do rotate the trees that I use. And then I'll also choose another spot. I'll probably go a little higher on this one this time around. So let's just do it. All right, so I've got my tape on, so I know how deep to go. I just removed a little bit of the bark in that area, so I'm not gonna go quite to that depth. And you just wanna go just at a slight angle, not very steep. I'll see if any sap is flowing. Oh, there it is. You can see the sap coming out. All right, so then it's really easy. You just take your spile and you give it a tap, tap, tap. Not too far, you want to be able to remove it. And then you simply insert the hose into the bucket, and we've made them intentionally tight there, so that if it rains, we don't have to worry about rain getting in there. And I usually give it a nice shove down in there to make sure it's good. And you can see it's already starting to drip. One down, 4 more to go. And then the last thing I do is put a brick or a rock on it just to make sure that everything stays put if it gets a little too windy. Once enough sap gets in the bucket, it's really no worries. So this is just for a little while. Oh, that rooster. All right, so I'm just gonna set my stuff out and go after it. This one's already starting to drip. Let's go, last one. You can hear it dripping in the bucket. It's a good sign. And that's what we want to hear.
is flowing.